our organization so that you people can understand. This is like you are here in India as a part of Jubilant Tamil Nadu, which is run by an international organization called BNI. So this is, BNI will have purely networking, regardless your model, regardless your size, and regardless your anything, only they do business networking, whether it is product, service, marketing, manufacturing or service, or a trader. Whereas here, similarly, we work with our family business people. For example, Warren Kirby. Kirby is a family name. Malik is a family name. Similarly, here Mudaliyar and Pellaimar are the two communities who hold our traditions and culture for in history for more than 2000 years. If you call like you know Madam, we know mud, right? Kanchi mud, like that. Similarly, there are 18 muds. All the muds belongs to Madaliyar or Pellaimars. Okay. So they are the ones who changed the thrones when the new king won the battle over Chera, Sola, Pandya. We used to call in medieval period. When Pandya win over Chola, we were the ones who give the throne to the new king. So that tradition only, when India got independence in 1947, Nehru got the throne from one of the mud Mudaliyar. So this is a history. That has been remembered by Modi. So last year when the new parliament is inaugurated, all the 18 mud chiefs were there. They did puja and they installed the throne in the new parliament. This is again done by our community people. So the biggest challenge what we face in our community is that we do all ethically, morally, well disciplined, but we don't market ourselves. I am not here to talk about other people. When they have 1, they will tell 10. They will add 9 and say we have 10. We have 10, but we will say 1. Okay. When you reach us, when you work with us, when you collaborate and discuss, then you understand, then you know he is only telling 1, he has many opportunity. So that is the reason this International Mudaliyar Pellaimar Association is, the core values of this association is to give education, empowerment and employment for the community people. For the past 15 years, the gentleman you met before you are, while you are arriving, sorry we are late, so he has to left for Bangalore, and he is working in this direction for the past 15 years. He spent almost 20 crores of his own money to uplift the community, and he traveled around 3 to 3.5 lakh kilometers across Tamil Nadu. Every village he traveled to unite these communities. And to give you a brief history, 120 years back, this was one community. During British period, this was purposefully planned and divided by using their divide and rule policy. Okay. In 1920, British is bringing one policy like you can democracy to all their Commonwealth countries. It is a name-shake plan. For all of you who are not aware of this also, it is information. We can check it in Google as well. And this 1920, they are bringing this democracy, and they are giving voting rights to people who are captured by their East Indian Company. Madras Providency is the only place where people have voted and elected their own people, which was a wood shock for them. They did a survey how this has happened, because all other places, wherever they did a puppet government, they won the election. Only in Madras Presidency, their plan is not able to execute. Then they understand 154 members belongs to these two communities. Okay. Because of that, they have strong hold in the local bodies, and they are moral, ethical, they hold sci-wide values, and they are known for, their dependency, integrity and all these things. So the people, once it has become democracy, people elected them instantly, immediately. So they got shocked and they decide, that time it was around 6 to 7 subdivisions like Mudaliyar, Pillaimar, and in Mudaliyar 1 or 2 castes will be there. In each community, they take area-wise slicing and they create new leaders and create new names. Today it has become 140 plus subcaste, so under 40 umbrella. So this has been brought into notice around 20 years ago, and very early birds our leaders started thinking and started working on it. They tried various programs like giving women empowerment, education and all these things. After 5-6 years, they found there is no followers or takers in our community itself for this plan. So immediately what have done? They took B2B as a tool. So business to business. When there is a new business or SME is working in our community, without taking help from others, we can work ourselves and give empowerment within our community. This is where again it starts picking up, and today we can proudly say around 15,000 members in business community across Tamil Nadu is part of our IMPA. In Chennai, it has been done in the name of IBN. In other parts, we have B2B, and here we have it in the name of IBC, which is IMPA Business Connect. It is whole and solely run by the district administration with the help of and consideration and approval from the mother body. So this is the outline. And this kind of gatherings will happen every month in across different districts. Whomsoever having interest in that district, we will travel to that district, and these expenses will be borne between us. There is no involvement of any commissions or charges. We will separate and we will conclude the meetings. So now we are in January, February we will be the other district. March, April there will be other districts. In May and June we have a planned fair, which is 400 stalls, like what you have seen in IBN, only belongs to our community. Last year we did a stall of 220 stalls. So this we are going to do the second term. So this is a brief idea and introduction about you to the team and about our community to you. And once again, for all of you gathering here, it is a short notice, and we have done our best to brought them before the lunch, but it is not in our hands. So hope you people will cooperate and make use of the availability of the guest. And thank you once again. Thank you. I'll take care. Okay. So I'll invite Mr. Irfan to give us short note about the opportunities in Australia and how a manufacturer or a trader or a service provider can make use of the opportunity and to do business in Australia. Welcome, Mr. Irfan.
Vanakkam, greetings, namaskar, salam, sat sri akal to all of you. My name is Irfan Malik. I head the Australia-India Business Council, as my friend Suresh mentioned. Greetings to all of you. Thank you for sticking around. I know we got delayed. We extend our greetings to this Thai Manna we call. I have strong connection to Coimbatore. I did my engineering at CIT, not too far from here, in 94 to 98 batch, and then I went to US, and then last 25 years I've been in Australia. So I've got fond memories of Coimbatore and very indebted to this Manna, which has again helped me shape as a professional, a human being, and definitely, one of the strong things that I've taken from this region is the importance of mutual respect as well. The Coimbatore ellarum respectful irpanga, elder to younger people. That is a strong value I have taken from Coimbatore as well, and which has shaped my career. But again, very pleased and honored to be here back with the business community. I always enjoy interaction with business community, small or large, but with the view that we want to help businesses grow. and especially entrepreneurs, startup founders, and business leaders who have strong ethos, and they've made a sacrifice to set up an entity, a venture, sacrificing their time, family time, funds, all of those kinds of things, with a view that they want to build a venture which grows, which supports the local economy, people, and builds a support network for various families and multitude of families. So, and great to be part of this community as well, which is again, built upon strong family values as well, and community values and social impact values as well. So I'm very pleased, and thank you to the organizers, the IBC, IMPA, the body as well. I'm very pleased that I could also have a leader from Australia, Warren Kirby MP, who's a member for Riverstone, which is part of the Greater Sydney area in the state of New South Wales. What's most important, and it's part of introduction as well, his electorate has got nearly 30% of his electorate has got India origin or India background. So it's a huge number of Indian diaspora living in his own electorate. So what he is also reciprocated is strong affinity and affection and respect for Indian diaspora as well, and whether attending Pongal function in there, and all the Tamil community, or our broader Indian community, he's been very active, and hence rightfully so he's been appointed as the co-chair of New South Wales Parliamentary Friends of India. So someone who's been made responsible to really build this relationship between Australia and India. What we believe is building those cultural ties, those values, the family values, building those linkages, that people-to-people linkages, because once you have that people-to-people linkages, the trust, and the whole Indian culture is relationship-oriented, trust, respect, and relationship-oriented, and that's a focus of the Australian government as well, both at the federal and the state, which Warren's party is currently in government. And definitely Warren personifies and really represents that strong Indian diaspora friendship and strong bonding to build on from there, and of course build stronger business, trade, and investment ties as well. Now I'll just set the context of the opportunity, and then we will have an interactive conversation with Warren after Warren also has a brief overview of what is happening. The context is Australia and India, the relationship has been growing. I mean, last 15 to 20 years. Our organization has been around for 40 years, so we've been there for a long haul. But we've had ups and downs, I mean, because it's all been very smaller opportunities that's come up. Fast forward in the last 10 years, our partnership between the nations have been elevated to a strategic, comprehensive strategic partnership level, where we discuss at all levels, government to government, whether it's international, geopolitical, defense, or trade, or various kinds of high-level engagement, and then at the industry level, at the the whole diaspora level as well. There's a lot of engagement that's been happening. And over the last 2 years, what's really transformed, which is like a watershed moment we had, milestone, was we have signed a free trade agreement between Australia and India, which is an early free trade agreement, ECTA, Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement, which has opened up huge opportunities. And this has all happened post-COVID, where everyone has realized that we need to look at alternatives to China, where they will continue. I mean, we will all the countries will continue to partner, source from China. However, we need to look at alternatives. We can't put all the eggs in the same basket. We need to look at building our own capability within our own nation, build resilience, build manufacturing capability, but also look for very aligned partner where we can build trusted relationship. That was the ground for setting the free trade agreement, where in December 2022, both the governments signed the free trade agreement, where a lot of sectors, I think I was told about 90 to 95% sectors and products at the HS and code level they have removed the tariff completely. And there are some sectors where they have significantly reduced, and over the next 5 to 10 years, it will be completely removed as well. And what's also good is what India and Australia has put in place is, if any other free trade agreement happens between other nations as well, or with India, we will have that applicable to the Australian free trade agreement as well. So that is kind of one of the key milestones which has started. So since last 2 years, we've been trying to generate interest, awareness, and doing outreach and all to talk about this. Now, that's to create interest. Everybody, okay, this is happening. What does it mean for me? If I'm a small business, நான் என்ன பண்ணலாம், எனக்கு என்ன benefit, என்னோட product எப்படி பண்ணலாம்? That is something where all of our organizations have a role to play. I'll give an example. We have about 4,000 member organizations across Australia, ella state lim, focused on various sectors from agri-tech to healthcare, pharma, accounting services, technology, to manufacturing. Ella nere sectors representatives irukanga. But everyone needs to understand what is that is relevant for India that I can trade, either to export or import part of the supply chain. And similarly, we have CII, FICCI, Assocham, ella inga partner organizations. So we've been trying to formulate how can we dissect, depending on the size of the company or the group or the sectors, where we can match. And the underlying or top line thing is around looking at complementarity. That is another C we use. What does India have which Australia needs, and what Australia has which India needs? That's the starting point. And the other way to dissect is free trade has opened up enormous opportunity with the tariff reduction. So what are we already trading? We were trading about 17 to 20 billion between Australia and India. So look at what are we trading currently. Some commodities, like coal was one of the biggest one that we've been trading, or petrochemicals and stuff. Can we do more? Naturally, we are doing this because of free trade, because tariff is low. Can we do 10 times the volume or 50 times the volume? So that's the first segment where we are already doing the trade. Can we do more? The second segment is because of this free trade thing. Before there was certain tariff which was a barrier. Now because there is no tariff, can we do it? And where we are not already trading at all, who are the companies who can help me service? Who are the companies this side who can procure? So that's the second segment. And third is because of all this, new segments we call the sunrise sectors, whether it is, clean energy, agri-tech, AI, digital economy, critical technologies, critical minerals, all this EV batteries, all these whole sectors have emerged now. And that is also included in the free trade agreement. How can we accelerate and become a strategic partner for global needs? Where, for example, critical minerals, Australia has got one of the largest reserves in the world, but also one of the best technology, mining technology, and the whole metallurgy, all those, Australia has got one of the best technology. But it doesn't have the scale of resource power. So that's where India can offer. And now India is at a different league where it is not just an outsourcing partner. It's a strategic investment partner as well, where India can invest into some of these opportunities, have skin in the game, and then help scale as well. Not only for India's needs, but global needs. These are how we are looking at three compartments of opportunities we can look at. Then dissecting, obviously there are large players already, large companies, whether, Adani or Tata's or Reliance, they're already there in some form or shape. We're helping some of the large groups. However, we see even in Australia, the real backbone of Australian economy and business is the small and medium scale enterprises. So we have a strong focus on how we can really support them. And not only, and one of the things I'm driving as well, naturally, people usually go to tier 1 cities, Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, Adelaide and Brisbane and all. We're going outside the city, the regional Australia we call, just as Inga, Coimbatore, Tirupur, even yesterday, Nambiur, the tier 2, tier 3 cities, there's some amazing opportunities. They just don't know, and they don't know have the connection to make things happen. And this is where we come as an organization, and we collaborate and look at opportunities. And we discussed about building a small network pool of, advisors or leaders who we can pass on this opportunity. Last year we had certain bricklaying requirement. We discussed, Gyara Irkangla. They may not be doing, but since the size of the opportunity is big, they can probably diversify or enhance. Ademari, we continue to work in collaboration. That's one aspect. But also, we know what are the new opportunities coming, defense, space sector, the whole value chain we have to build, and who are the right partners to bring on board as well, and build a longer-term strategic kind of relationship. So that's again our key intent. The other thing which again, this is a good segue into inviting Warren as well, is now in Australia, we have nearly 1 million people of Indian origin or descent. That's like 10 lakhs. It's a significant number considering Australia population is only about 26 million. Less than probably some of the regions, or 4-5 district population, the whole of Australia. But adila significant role 1 million Indians are playing, or Indian diaspora is playing. So how can we leverage Indian diaspora? And usually the journey of a diaspora, unlike Middle East, fast track where people go for getting a job or setting some kind of business, but then they build on the entrepreneurship, they get into investment, they scale businesses, even SMEs, they get into it. So there's a growing influence in the Indian diaspora in the business space happening, of course, in the government, policy, bureaucracy, but definitely business-less strong Indian diaspora role. So they bring expertise of how to do business in Australia, as well as their close network and linkages of how business is done with Indian and Indian companies. And there are some nuances. As I said, it's all relationship-based and build that relationship. So Adhika in the Indian diaspora has a strong role, and we call, even the former president called Indian diaspora as the living bridge. And we see from our business perspective, the business bridge, how they can look at opportunity, make the call or connect the dots to see who can help service this. Reverse Ademari, we have a capability, can we find the right opportunity? Because they would know, or they are across that. And the other angle is, government is also supporting to help with some grants. There's a government-led organization called Center for Australia-India Relationship. They are giving Maitri grants, so friendship grants across scholarships, research fellowships, and business-to-business and institution-to-institution linkages across culture, art, business, trade, investment, all those kinds of things. So that is again the government supported, policies there. And then there are a lot of, city councils as well as, regions who are also supporting, encouraging with new precincts being developed, whether it's a new, trade zone or a new business precinct or things like being developed. And there's a lot happening in Warren's electorate as well. So that's a bit of background. The key things to take away is the free trade agreement between us. I would strongly encourage, and I'm happy to pass the links. They're all online. And I want you guys to spend time. Research is very important. Any business person, small or big, you need to do planning, preparation, and research. I mean, we can handhold, we can give, but as a business, you know what you're best, or what you are capable of, what you can service. So you need to provide, you spend time with your team to see what are the areas, top line sectors, subsectors, micro sectors, and at a HSN code level. எங்கெல்லாம் tariff zero இருக்கு, இது நம்ம பண்றோமா, இது நம்ம friend, நம்ம networkல, நம்ம communityல யாரா பண்றாங்களானா, that is something you got to do the research. The research and planning is required. I will strongly encourage. So the free trade lens, what are the opportunities? And now the 3 segments on it, you can look at it. The second is really providing that awareness. You may have in your network, someone can do something international. One of the, I come from a strong business scaling background, investment background. As an investor or a business, I look at it, okay, you are looking at the Australian market. Have you exported to Middle East? Have you exported to Europe? Because if you have, that gives the confidence, you know the nuances of exporting. Preparing for, and Australia, I'll put it out there, one of the countries with stringent regulatory compliance requirements. இங்க இந்த ISI stamp அடிக்கிற மாதிரி இல்ல, அங்க வந்து the conformance to certification, compliance, regulatory requirements is phenomenal. பயங்கர, one of the top, and that's why they see Australian product made in Australia na quality high level இருக்கும். I'll give you an example. There was a medtech company we were looking to launch from Bangalore to Middle East. I looked at the product, it was great. And I saw an opportunity for a Australian company to collaborate. We launched this company into Australia. We had the collaboration, we got some products delivered, anga market supply pannanga, and then we took the Australian company to Middle East. We had 300% growth. We were able to charge 300% to the Middle East company. Because again, value. Because once we were there with the TGA, in fact, even during COVID, we had one of Suresh's product, we got TGA certified. TGA is the hardest in the world, even harder than FDA. So that's a perceived quality in terms of the compliance and regulatory norms. And then that you need to be prepared. For example, Diwali 6 months back, we have some sweets. We were after procuring major Indian sweets and Indian snacks. And we had certain, especially food grade, very stringent in Australia. They want to make sure it's only the proper quality products come with a longer shelf life as well. So they were looking at about 6 to 8 certification, which is global requirements. We were surprised that we couldn't hardly have, and I'm talking about Haldiram's couldn't even provide. Haldiram's to even Krishna and all. So there was gap in some of the standards. So maybe it is, you already have the standard, but you haven't got the certification. So being aware of what are the compliance, certification, regulatory norms, prepare yourself. You're not going to supply 3-6 months, at least, okay, I've got this market plan, entry plan, 2 years ahead. Let's go for what are the certifications required. Let's be prepared so that when someone like me, I need these things. Because a huge order. Major supermarket, Coles, Aldi chain, they wanted to, because the diaspora is growing. In fact, you'll be surprised. If you go to Woolworths, you go to some of the supermarkets, there's a section where you'll have paneer, dosa maav, all there in Australian supermarket. Separate section. There's an Indian section, but now we get dosa maav also, idli dosa maav in a separate aisle. So that's the influence of the Indian diaspora. But what they want to know is they have said Diwali is one of the now national festivals. Everyone, Australian, all corporates celebrate, government celebrate. So they wanted to put a big aisle during Diwali on the 30 days, full sweets and snacks and all. But unfortunately, last year, because we couldn't secure, we had to forego that deal. Because they would get it only the right way, black or white. We get it the right way, otherwise we'll pull back. No point in half-baked stuff. So preparing for those certification compliance under certificates is important. So what puts you in the global standard? So that's definitely the second takeaway. Third is definitely these kind of networks where we can leverage, share ideas, but most importantly, share our network, and the connecting the dots. That's a term we use in Australia, that we connect the dots and also line up the ducks in a row so that we can kind of get the outcome as well. So those are things which I'll leave with that. But again, leverage the Indian diaspora. Ungalukku network la irukanga, use your LinkedIn, find out who is someone in my network who would have been in Australia, or reach out to organizations like us, or even the community organization. IBC equivalent, I'm sure Sydney, Australia makkal irupanga, so you can leverage them as well. I'm sure they'll have the business network or they can reach out to. These are things I'll leave with that, but I'll invite Warren to talk about Riverston and his electorate, where there are some major developments happening and also a strong diaspora growing as well. So maybe you can share some insights of what's happening in your electorate and broadly New South Wales in terms of the Indian diaspora and also some of the opportunities, some of the sectors that's coming up, and how they can be connected and leverage some of these opportunities as well. Over to you. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody, and happy Republic Day. And I extend that as an Australian, and we are also celebrating... we just got an electric shock then. The mood in the room is electric. So this is also Australia Day. And I think it's really important to point out that our cultures are so closely aligned that even Republic Day and Australia Day fall on the same day. And this is something that many Australians had no idea about up until very recently. And this has also coincided with the story of my electorate. And if I would just like to share with you a little bit of the nature of change that we are experiencing, and I think that as well is a little bit of similar to the change that is being experienced here in India today. Now, my electorate, when I was growing up, I am the fourth of 5 generations who have lived in my local area. Right up until I was at working age, there were around about 2,500 people that lived in my postcode. Now, if I fast forward that, give or take 1991 to 2021, the population had grown from 2,500 up to around about 18,000. So over a 30-year period, there had started to be some growth. And I can take that back because 5 years before that, it was only about 3,500. So over 25 years, it had grown by 1,000. Over the following 5 years, it had grown by 10, 15,000. In the next 15 to 20 years, that same area will hold around about 150,000 people. So that's the rate of growth that I'm experiencing in my area right now. Now, right up until, give or take, 2010, 2011, the overwhelming majority of the population were Anglo. They looked like me. There were some Maltese, there were some Greeks, there were some Italians, but overwhelmingly European and Anglo. Of the new migrants that are coming in, the new residents that are moving into the housing that's being built, close to 90% of those are South Asian. So those numbers I talked about earlier of the shift, we have gone from virtually no people from South Asian background as recently as 10 years ago to now the number of people from South Asian background broadly outnumbers the number of people who identify as coming from an Anglo background, and in people specifically from the Indian diaspora now equal the number of those who identify as being Australian, whatever Australian means. So the shift in demographic has been dramatic, not only in terms of the number of growth, but also the region which people have come from. And this is playing out in a fantastic way in our local area. If I go back to pre-COVID times, we were experiencing in the local area an unemployment rate of around about 8.5%. As the Indian diaspora has grown, our unemployment rate has dropped to we're now down to about 1.9%. We're one of the lowest unemployment rates in New South Wales. We are less than half of every electorate that surrounds me. So the contribution of the Indian diaspora in particular is undeniable. And this also has changed the opportunities that exist for collaboration. And Irfan touched on this a little bit earlier when he spoke about the intelligence that comes out of ideas in Australia and the innovations that come out of Australia. One of the things that we've always struggled with is turning innovation into commercial reality. And if I was to offer some advice for people in this room who are looking to work with Australia, think less about selling to and more about working with. And the reason I point that out is walking just down this small sample of members that I've seen here, almost every single stallholder has an opportunity to work with Australia. And I would recommend that that happens on a B2B basis rather than a B2C basis. Now, if you are extraordinarily large and you're looking at franchising large retail stores, that will work for you. You can make a decent amount through that. But if you are more in the small to medium enterprise, leveraging the power of the diaspora who is currently in Australia would be, in my opinion, far more profitable, far less risk, and by your own admission, if you are not particularly good at marketing yourselves, it eliminates the need for you to be marketing the product. You're putting that onto the end user, who is then responsible for selling it to the consumer. And one of the reasons that I say that this is important is because for many, many years, the potential for business to business between Australia and India has been evident. There have been seeds lying on the ground, but no one has quite understood why they won't grow. There has been a mutual affection, largely born out of cricket, a mutual curiosity between our two nations. There's all of this potential, but no one can quite work out why. And some of the solution to that is the growing diaspora, as Irfan spoke about, the living bridge. Because the nature, the way that people from India think about doing business is quite different to the way an Australian thinks about doing business. And if you are, I like to put it in terms of, it's like an Italian trying to speak to a Greek in Italian. You don't quite connect. Very similar, lots of hand movements, quite get there. When we have people who are living in Australia, who have established their lives in Australia, who are raising their family in Australia, who have deep both family and cultural connection to India, they understand how to do business with people in India, and they understand how to do business with people in Australia. What Australia wants and how India wants to work that business. So there are a couple of things that you do need to consider, and Irfan spoke about this when he spoke about working in other markets and understanding how other markets work. It's also understanding the business imperatives of working in another market. So for example, if you're selling a product here and it's 2,000 rupee, and that's quite a decent margin for you to make, you have to consider that if you are setting up particularly something like a retail in Australia, not only do you have your shipping costs, but you also have rent, electricity, water, all of the costs of business. On top of that, you also don't have the volume that you might expect to be selling to. In a country of only 26 million people, you aren't necessarily going to be selling 100,000 units a week. You may not even be selling 10,000 units a week. So that has to be factored in to the return that you're expecting on your investment. You almost certainly would have to be considering price adjustments on what you're offering. You almost certainly would have to be considering the change in the product that you are actually selling. So is that product appropriate for the Australian market? And this again, leverage the people on the ground, leverage the people who are now the growing diaspora, almost 1 million people from the Indian diaspora now living in Australia, who understand the needs and desires of the local market and how that suits the products that you're selling over here. The pumps that I saw outside, for just a wild example, I understand that there's quite a large industry here of building pumps. Now, you might be building pumps with the idea of moving water through a rice paddy, whereas in Australia, that exact same pump was probably more likely to sell as being a pool pump, because most people in suburbia have pools. There's a very large number of people with swimming pools in their backyard in right up and down the east coast of Australia. Now, similar product, but you're looking at an entirely different market to what perhaps the original intention was of that product. So these are some of the adjustments that you might want to make. But broadly speaking, from an Australian government point of view, the whole concept of reducing tariffs, of bringing in the free trade agreement, of the closeness in ties that we are building with the Indian diaspora is all about our governments at all levels saying, we want to work together with you, we want to have closer collaborations with you. And the best thing, from my opinion and of many of my colleagues, that we can do as government authorities is lay the groundwork for business to do business and then get out of the way. Let business do what business does. And there is definitely opportunities that exist. There are grants that exist, as Irfan mentioned. There are opportunities to work with politicians such as myself to say, okay, this is what I'm hoping to achieve here. Is there anybody that you can connect me with? You know, even right down through to the Consul General who have set up a business concierge inside the consulate in Sydney, where people from Australia wanting to do business here in India can have that facility working through the consulate. So through political level, through diplomatic level, through organisations like the AIBC, there is a willingness to co-collaborate with India, and it's something that I think particularly a region like Coimbatore with such a strong manufacturing base across such a broad spectrum of products can absolutely be leveraging and should be. So have a look at how you can do that. Recommend.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable and informative address. The question answer session is now open to the floor.
So the question and answer session open. Questions you can ask about how to utilize the opportunity.
Few things also I want to say. The opportunities when last 2 years there's been a lot going on, and now the council on the what I can feel a lot of opportunities are going to North Gujarat, Maharashtra, like even New South Wales. We've got a sister state relationship with Gujarat and Maharashtra, but we really keen, and even the Consul General there in Sydney as well, very keen to bring some of these opportunities to Tamil Nadu. So there is a definite focus on Tamil Nadu, hence we are spending some time as well. It's about how we can match the capabilities to the opportunities there. So this is where you all play a strong role, and we are very committed to give business and also build partnership with Tamil Nadu and Tamil Nadu based companies, because we know we can build a longer term relationship. And Tamil Nadu, we are really pushing, and we are taking a state-based approach where we are positioning Tamil Nadu as on its own a $1 trillion economy, one of the second largest economy in India. So we are really promoting it. So how can we leverage the capability to match the opportunity? That's the intent. I just want to highlight that we are definitely focusing on Tamil Nadu to be promoted.
Sir, good afternoon. My name is K.A. Bhuminathan. My company name is Nathan Trading. I imported in the scrap material, sir.
I think I've heard a lot of requirements. I know there's already some trade happening. Some people are aggregating. Whether or not we have the volume that you're looking at, but I see a huge opportunity, and if we can build pathways, I know there are certain e-waste and various other scrap metal is going to China.
Focus in the tire, scrap. Vehicle tires.
Vehicle, okay.
Tires
and all. I know things are being aggregated and being sent overseas. We'll definitely look into it. I have received a lot of inquiries as well. So you want to add to the scrap tires and scrap metal parts and all. How can we? They're interested in sourcing these metals, and how we can aggregate and export to India.
I think something that is desperately needed in Australia and probably globally that hasn't really been given too much consideration is with the advent of and the uptake of electric vehicles. Now, every car manufacturer in the world has recalls for various reasons. When it comes to recalling electric vehicles, there are large components of the vehicle that are not being well serviced to recycle. Now, and I will loop back onto your specific scrap, but what I'm saying is there are large components within an electric vehicle that not only have a lot of potential for recycling, but are also very, very valuable, a lot of the rare earth metals and all of those sorts of things. But no one has quite considered the ramifications of large-scale recalls when you have a huge number of these vehicles on the road. So there is nowhere that's working on recycling those things. Now, onto rubber products. Now, every vehicle, every tyre place in New South Wales is required to pay a levy on the tyres for having them put back. We don't have a particularly good system of being able to recycle those tyres or repurpose those the components of that. And this extends to a large number of industries. Probably steel merchants are the ones that are most on top of these things, of doing that. But having said that, if there is an opportunity to be able to move product across in shipping lanes as a raw product, there is a propensity for Australian insurers in particular to, rather than repair, to replace, which by its very nature creates a lot of opportunity for steel. Again, I think about automotive. If you have damaged a panel on your car, rather than have a panel beater beat that out, just take the panel off and put a brand new one on, which opens up enormous opportunity for you if you wanted to be looking at importing product from Australia that you could recycle here. It would be there. It may not be in the volumes that you're after, but having said that, there are definitely sectors where Australians are far more likely to replace a product. And again, whether this is a panel on a car or a washing machine or a dishwasher or a fridge, it's a replace rather than repair scenario, which creates a lot of scrap.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We'll take an action for that. We'll come back to you about some of the suppliers, potential suppliers.
Yes, sir. Sir, we having a lot of skilled workers in our area, like welders and for building construction, like that, lot of them. Is there any criteria for Australia, any TOEFL like that? But they are very low language like that. Is there any criteria for that, sir?
What I would suggest, if you do have metal workers, welders, boiler makers, tradespeople across the board, there is a significant skill shortage in Australia, and that is combined with very ambitious housing targets, both nationally and in a New South Wales sense. So our New South Wales is the state that most new migrants come to, that most new migrants want to establish homes in. Over the last probably couple of decades, I would say, we haven't built enough housing to support the population that's coming in, and that has been a significant contributor to massive increases in house prices, rental prices, which in turn has enormous pressures on cost of living. So it's very easy for politicians like myself to put on a target and say, we're going to build 100,000 new homes. But in order to do that, you need to have the tradespeople. That's the good news. The bad news is, as Irfan was talking about earlier, we have some of the strictest regulations in the world when it comes to most sectors, and building is no different to that. So the requirements for skilled tradespeople with recognised qualifications is key to that. And my experience with many tradespeople from India in particular is highly skilled, but no paperwork to show that. So that maybe they've been trained by their father, their grandfather. It may have passed down generation to generation, and people are highly skilled with their hands, but because there are there's nothing to say that they have that qualification, that they are that good, they find it quite difficult to be able to work inside that environment. Now, there are programs available for people to be able to transition and say, well, I have this skill with my hands, but I don't have the paperwork to support it. There are ways that you can get that paperwork, but they're absolutely, from an opportunity point of view, no question whatsoever. If you have a trade here, whether you're talking about bricklayers or plumbers or electricians or anything at all, concreters, as I say, welders. You know, my area is another good example of that. You know, if I wind the clock back, so 20, 30 years, many of the young people were quite happy to learn a trade, to become a welder, to become a plumber, to become an electrician. Nowadays, they want to go to university and get arts degrees or marketing degrees or office-type jobs, which has left a big hole in the construction industry that we need to fill. And we're working on programs, everything from higher education, vocational programs, through to migration programs, to look at ways that we can very quickly adjust that. And I think that India has a major role to play in that. When you think about roughly 20 million people turning 18 every year, that provides just huge potential for us to be able to minimise that skills gap in a very short space of time. And if there are people in this area that are thinking about that, absolutely.
Yeah, and definitely there's a strong need, and we are looking for partner organizations for vocational training or even engineering institutions where we can offer Australian certified programs, skill them up here, obviously to Australian standards, and then again a cream of them we can look at matching for the requirements, and maybe some of the hands-on training extra training may happen in Australia as well. You just recently facilitated something in Hyderabad, very much in the construction industry, whether it's electricians or plumbers or various other specific skilled resources. There's a huge demand, and we'll be looking to partner. And it's not one organization, multiple organizations need to work with. For example, I know for some of the opportunities in the defense and few sectors coming up, we need about 120,000 plus plumbers for Australia in the next 5 years or so. So similarly, there'll be need for trade and tradies and skilled people, resources. We'll look at partnering and building those certified program, getting the people here with the global world-class certification, whether it's for India's needs or Australia's needs or other countries' needs. We want to enable that as well. So definitely we'll be working with organizations for that.
Add one more thing to that. The other advantage that you would find in coming to Australia or getting that vocational qualification from Australia is it opens up a world of opportunity for you in later life as well. So you can either continue to work in Australia, work towards a permanent residency, towards citizenship, or you can basically work in any country around the world, because, as Irfan said earlier, most of the regulation that we have in our country is considered to be some of the strictest in the world. So if you are qualified to be doing that kind of work in Australia, basically you're qualified to do that around the world. And we are also recognise that if you have those qualifications from Australia, people know automatically you have the highest standards of safety, you have the highest standards of quality of workmanship, and higher standards of work ethic. So that definitely opens you up to a world of opportunity well beyond that initial period.
Yeah, I have a question. I'm from, I have a company called Neuronest A Private Limited. We develop artificial intelligence for business using LLM model and ML model. We would like to know, we created some SaaS model in India. Is that how it can sellable in that Australia? Is there any support given by the government in the cloud servers and any cheapest servers they give? India government is also start supporting the servers. We are requested in a Delhi conference also summit. Government said it's on the way. About in Australia, they give any support for the artificial intelligence using in your country, so that we can also sell something in the country also?
I'll go back to something I said a little bit earlier about think more about working with rather than selling to. One of the great advantages, as you would know, with cloud services and with all things internet, is it has made the world a much smaller place in terms of being able to work together, to be able to collaborate together. One of the advantages of having Australia as a partner in this is we have very stable electricity internet services, particularly if you look regionally. We are on the doorstep of Southeast Asia, multiple countries through there that you can be servicing through Australia, or you can be working with Australian clients. Australians are quite happy to provide a brief online. In fact, there's quite an expectation of it now that people don't need to have a face-to-face meeting. They're quite happy to email, they're quite happy to online chat, all of those sorts of things. So I think there is definitely space there. I think there is also opportunity to look towards large corporate and government bodies who are increasingly looking for AI to enhance their capacity and enhance the offering that they're giving to their own consumers. Again, look towards a B2B rather than a B2C relationship if you're looking at developing AI systems. And probably the third thing I would add to that is if you are looking to actively push into that market and to actively go into that space, have a think about what are the sectors that are in Australia that are either provide you with opportunity, and the top of that list goes down to mining, agriculture. In both of those sectors, the ability to maximise yield and minimise cost, as with any business, can be, in the case of those two industries, can be the difference between making a loss and making a profit of hundreds of millions of dollars. And that's where AI has enormous potential. I was talking to someone, I think it was yesterday, who has developed an AI package that maps land and tells a farmer where the best places for water flow is, but in terms of how it runs off the land and where to create dams and things like that on their properties. That sort of intelligence and that capacity for AI to work with the agricultural business is gold. And these are things that can be there. The other way to do it would be to have a look at what is the AI that you're working with, and how does that align with certain industries in Australia, and then you can actively target towards those industries. It might be that what is your AI? So let's take the insurance industry for a start. Australians insure everything. Everything is insured. Cars, homes, contents of homes, boats, across the board. Large sectors of society are insured. Insurance companies do everything they possibly can to minimise the amount of payouts that they have to make and maximise their profit margins. It's a walk-up start for of all of the sectors within Australia that have the potential to be able to leverage power from that. It's an industry you can absolutely walk into, and then have a look at the different insurers. Now, it might number one, there are multiple layers of some insurers. One that comes to top of mind, IAG is the parent company of it, but underneath that it has multiple different companies operating as insurance companies. Now, there is potential there to either work directly with the mothership or to work with some of the smaller branches of that, and then work your way in towards the larger one. So, with all of these things, if have a look at what the market is doing in Australia, and broadly speaking, it really doesn't matter what the industry is. Get on the ground there, have a look at, do the research. As Irfan said, it's the 5 Ps. Proper performance prevents proper preparation prevents poor performance. Do a bit of preparation, have a look at what the local market is doing, whether you see opportunity to be able to provide something that's not being provided, or if it is, how can you do it better. And personally, I would say always look to how can I do it better rather than how can I do it cheaper. Yeah, there is certainly opportunity there.
One of the approaches, obviously, we hosted several NASSCOM delegations. Are you part of NASSCOM? NASSCOM? Yeah, no, so they come to Australia as well. So obviously the challenge, I mean, you have few strategies. Again, I'm just going to be exclusive because I'm working with several IT companies, depending on which scale you are. It's about typical market entry strategy. I mean, you can look for a partner who could be on selling your multi-cloud management or, whole cyber security solutions, SOC as a service or whatever, CISO as a service. And definitely there's a demand for SaaS-based products, but you want to do a research as to how you are differentiating, your product is differentiating in the market. The entry would be to find the right partner who is existing, who's got clients already. If you're targeting, say, some of the segments you touched on, or even BFSI or government, you've got to find a partner who's already servicing them, and your product or service is going to augment. So you already got a client, they just need to on-sell or upsell your solution as part of the portfolio. But if you're wanting to go long-term and serious, then you may want to consider even setting up your entity as well, where then the whole ecosystem supports you. So we have in New South Wales government is providing a soft landing program, and that's been availed to NASSCOM and even AIBC supported companies. For 6 months, you have a free space there in the city heart, at the Sydney Startup Hub, where it is an international landing pad we have for companies like you. Ideally tech companies, but also any other companies as well. For 6 months, they give you the seat, you can use the facility because that is a hub for businesses, government industries to come and work with the startups. So you'll have exposure, access to networking, all those things. So you can avail that. That's if you are interested. And the third option, and again, that's a long-term plan. So you want to bring investments to set up the company and then also build on resources, build on business development guys and all those kinds of, which is a typical, but the other one, which we have done with some large groups or mid-sized group as well, is to take equity stakes into another, equity stake, where you're part of another company as well, or even acquire. I mean, some of the larger companies have acquired as well, because they already have books with the clients, and then you are just going to bring, so there are a few strategies, happy to support, but you need to do some planning and research around how you are differentiating in the market and how you can, service that market as well. No. Service and all you manage here. It's okay. It's a cloud-based. Unless it is you need Gov DC or data centers. If it has to be secure, otherwise it should be okay.
Personal data, just be aware that if you are working in that space, you have to understand the regulatory framework around,
Good afternoon. Myself, Anga Yuppan, representing Basri Anchor and Textiles. So we are a manufacturer of cotton saree, silk saree. So my service-oriented unit for weavers. So we're looking for my product in Australian market. So this is my strength. So otherwise, please give your expected rent. I will do.
Thank you. And as we discussed, we have helped launch various other organizations like Nalli and others and all. We can definitely help you get access to the market, help set up a small retail presence, or even work with some of the Australian companies who are looking for the social and sustainable causes. They can work with you for manufacturing of those textiles as well. We can help you connect with them.
What's the scope for the textiles, especially our inner garments, ladies, same thing, and then bed linen, hospitality, bed linen production market. What's the scope for the market in Australian market?
I mean, there's tremendous scope those sectors. We had various delegations through TexProsil and the apparel export group who have come, and they've got orders. But again, there's a lot of players coming from Gujarat, Maharashtra, all over, and of course, Tamil, and Bangladesh and Sri Lanka as well. they come, and China, of course, is part of the big expo. So again, how you differentiate and build your business development network is the key there. But definitely there's a market there, again, but there are a lot of players. So you got to compete and differentiate. That'll be the key.
Probably what I would add to that is whereabouts in the chain is the best use of that. You know, is it importing cotton for to increase the productivity and the quality of product that you're producing here? Is it establishing local manufacture in Australia so you can put the Made in Australia stamp on your product and therefore increase its perceived value? It might be exact same product as you're selling here in India, but with that Made in Australia tag, it's suddenly a lot more valuable and potentially allows you to sell into a market that you couldn't directly do through India. So that's an opportunity to go around the market a little bit. If you're looking towards providing very affordable products, I would consider working with one of the major retailers, Kmart, Woolworths Group, Wesfarmers, which is Coles, all of which sell value for money product in their very large chain stores nationally. If you're looking at selling premium product and really high-end material, there's definitely a market for that in boutique stores, and that's Australia in many ways is quite affluent. We complain a lot about how there's a major cost of living crisis, but at the same time, people are buying Frank Green drink bottles, to put their water in every day, which work out. So a drink bottle for 3,000 rupees, so people are happy to spend money on perceived quality if they go to get it.
வணக்கம் சார், என் பேர் நிரஞ்சனா. நான் வந்து பிளாஸ்டிக் ஹேங்கர்ஸ் வந்து மேனுஃபேக்சரிங் பண்ணிகிட்ருக்கேன். பிளாஸ்டிக் ஹேங்கர்ஸ் டிஷர்ட்லாம் ஹேண்ட் பண்ணுறல அந்த ஹேங்கர்ஸ் பண்ணிகிட்ருக்கோம். அதுபோக நெக்ஸ்ட் ப்ராடக்டாக வந்து பார்த்திங்கன்னா ஃபுட் கண்டெய்னர்ஸ் பண்ணிகிட்ருக்கோம். இது என்னுடைய ப்ராடக்ட்டுக்கு வந்து அங்கே ஆஸ்திரேலியா மார்க்கெட் சப்போர்ட் பண்ண முடியுமா? அதே மாதிரி எங்கள் திருப்பூரில் வந்து நிறைய கவர்மெண்ட் மெம்பர்ஸ் எல்லாம் வந்திருக்காங்க. அவங்களுக்கு வந்து பையர் சைடு வந்து ஏன்னா எல்லாமே பையர்ஸ் எங்களுக்கு ஈஸியாக மார்க்கெட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு எங்களுக்கு எதாவது சப்போர்ட் பண்ண முடியுமா?
They've got a plastic hanger manufacturing and food containers manufacturing, but also they represent a garment cluster, manufacturing cluster nearby. They're asking for what kind of support we can offer and stuff. So definitely Angola companies ku vendi neenga white label manufacturing பண்ணலாம். அது மாதிரி ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணலாம். அவங்க ப்ராடக்ட்ஸை வந்து இங்கே இந்தியன் கான்சுலேட்டில் ஒரு பிஸ்னஸ் லவுஞ்சும் ஒரு டிஸ்பிளே செட்டப் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க சிட்னியில். ஸோ நீங்கள் என்ன ஆன்லைனில் போனால் சிஜிஐ சிட்னி, கான்சுல் ஜெனரல் ஆஃப் இந்தியா சிட்னி வெப்சைட் போனீங்கன்னா அதில் அந்த டீட்டெயில்ஸ் இருக்குது. அங்கே ட்ரேடு ரெப்ரசன்டேட்டிவ் ஒரு தமிழ் இருக்கார். இன்ஃபேக்ட் கான்சுல் ஜெனரலே தமிழ்நாட்டிலேருந்து அந்த தமிழ் ஒருத்தர் ஜேம்ஸ் இருக்கார், அவர் தான் அதை ஹேண்டில் பண்ணுறாரு. ஸோ அவங்க இந்த ப்ராடக்ட்ஸ் அங்கே டிஸ்பிளே பண்ணிவிட்டு அவங்க ஒரு நெட்ஒர்க்கில் உங்களை ப்ரொமோட் பண்ணலாம். லீட்ஸ் வரும்போது உங்களுக்கு ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் பண்ணுவாங்க. அது மாதிரி அங்கே ஒரு ஃபெசிலிட்டி இருக்குது. ஒன்று சொன்ன மாதிரி நீங்கள் ஒயிட் லேபிள் உங்கள் ப்ராடக்ட் வந்து வேறு பிராண்டுக்கு வேண்டி நீங்கள் பண்ணி கொடுக்குறது மாதிரி இருந்ததுன்னா அதுக்கு ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டிஸ் இருக்குது.
Sir, good afternoon. We are doing manufacturers and exporters of t-shirts, garments. We are doing exporting for Panama, Czech Republic, Belgium, Europe countries, some other Europe countries. We are looking for Australian market. We are doing manufacturing based on the buyer's request. We are looking for buyers in Australian markets. How can we?
So, நாங்கள் எங்கள் approach again, we talk in Australian thing, low hanging fruits. ஏது ப்ராடக்ட் உங்களோட பெஸ்ட் செல்லர், நீங்கள் வேறு மார்க்கெட்டில் போனதில் ஈஸியாக உங்களுக்கு மார்க்கெட் பிடிக்க முடிச்சதோ அந்த ப்ராடக்ட் இங்கே டார்கெட் பண்ணுங்க. இங்கே ஒரு வெஸ்டர்ன் மார்க்கெட் அது மாதிரி உள்ள இங்கே ப்ராடக்ட் நீங்கள் டார்கெட் பண்ணிங்கன்னா அந்த எக்ஸ்போர்ட் எல்லாம் வந்தீங்கன்னா இன்வைட் பண்ணுறவங்கள அங்கே வந்து ப்ராஸ்பெக்டிவ் பயர்ஸ் கூட மீட் சர்ட் அந்த உங்களுக்கு பெஸ்ட் செல்லிங் உங்களோட வெல் டிஃப்ரென்ஷியேட்டட் ப்ராடக்ட் வந்து அங்கே ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி இருந்தாங்கன்னா அவங்க சிறிய சின்ன ஆர்டர்ஸ் வச்சு ஆரம்பிச்சுட்டு அதுலேருந்து they can take it forward. But please to reach out again the consulate as well, we can help, and the business council is also happy. They were after again textile undergarments and all they do, and t-shirts, so they're looking of how they can enter and service the school uniform adala nariya segments irukku. We're happy to make some introductions.
So first of all, for the coat hanger lady, just want to add to that. Personal use of plastic coat hangers is very, very low, but the use in retail stores and in dry cleaners and the more commercial end is very, very high, which is why I mentioned if you can white label that. So, for example, suits and shirts, very common to have those dry cleaned. If your dry cleaner's name, Turbo Dry Cleaning, if you can put Turbo Dry Cleaning on a plastic product, then you have the potential to sell thousands of units because they're one-time use only. They dry clean, they put the suit on it and they move it off to the customer. The customer then sends back the suit without a coat hanger and then you have another coat hanger being sold. So there's a big turnover of coat hangers in those kind of industries, but in a home setting, very, very common to have more of the wooden hangers or the kind of wire hangers rather than plastic. So again, we go back to the research of what the market is doing. Are there many being sold in a household? No, not really. So how does that provide me with opportunity to sell hangers in other areas? I can sell it to commercial spaces. Commercial spaces will want to put their own branding on it to remind people of where they bought that from. Suddenly you have a market. And back onto your product, as I said earlier about textiles, where do you want to sell that? What segment do you want to sell that into? If you want to have volume, then you need to be looking towards product buyers for a couple of the large supermarket chains. It's really your best option to get in the market there. And then if you wanted to have premium quality product, why is it premium quality? What is it that differentiates yours? Does it make you sweat less? Does it make you feel better? Does it, make you 10 kilograms lighter? All of these sorts of things. Think about that, and then how do you sell that into higher premium, higher margin? Lower volume, high margin, opposite.
Thank you, sir, for gracing the occasion and sparing your valuable time now. Thank you so much.